Hello, and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
I feel like we're getting an intimate look, Dave, behind the scenes. I'm Jonathan, by the way. Hello.
This isn't even my room in the Airbnb, but it has the best connection. Okay.
I was intrigued by the melon blouse hanging in the closet behind you. Okay.
Not my room, but we are making do here. For those of you who are new here, this is the skating lesson. We are going to discuss everything that happened in the Autumn Classic, the Junior Grand Prix in Shabliansk, and the Lombardia Trophy. So if you're new here, please subscribe below, and our fans, please smash that like button because we are on vacation in Hawaii, making this work for you. Jonathan's going to be in China later this year, making it work.
Yeah,
so
we're going to be scrappy. Yeah.
We are on location. We have tried to film outside numerous times. There have been.
It was beautiful, but we just couldn't hear you.
Unfortunately, it started to do where I would be talking and Jonathan would be 10 seconds behind. So I'm doing this in a room at an Airbnb in Kauai, Hawaii. But I have been watching all of the skating in my free time. So we're going to try not to be too zen and try to keep it real here about the skating. Let's start in Toronto. We actually not quite Toronto. We're in Oakville, the home of pregnant Meghan Duhamel, who was doing some of the commentary, parabens to Meghan.
Who was she doing that with, Dave?
Debbie
Who was that
Wilkes.
woman?
Debbie Wilkes.
That's a tough one for me because it always sounds like she's about to cry, like just inherently in her speaking voice. And I thought Meghan had such great technical things that she could start to say, but it was clear that she wanted, this other woman wanted to keep it kind of fluffy and broad. And when you have someone as technically insightful as Meghan, I would have loved to have let her run wild on what she really thought.
And Debbie was actually a skater herself, I believe, in the early 60s. People are going to write in and be like, no, it was 1959. No, but Debbie was a skater herself, I believe a pair skater. And she has been in broadcasting so long. She has one of those like smooth voices to me where it's almost like she...
I think she's about to burst into tears. She's like, well... she did a good job. And I was like, oh gosh, yeah.
I was going to say she sounds like she could be on Light FM, like reading those letters from people, like Delilah at night, right?
Yes, that's right. Or the Muffin Girls from the NPR sketch on...
SNL.
Because in general, actually, I really obviously enjoyed the Autumn Classic. If I could have picked any of the three events to be at, it would probably have been that one, right?
Yeah.
But the sound quality for a lot of the actual music and for the commentary was very difficult. It was a very poor audio experience for me.
Speaking of audio quality, maybe turn down your gain just a tad. We're hearing like 1.25 of you, but we will just keep it going.
Too many of a good thing. Too much of a good thing, Dave.
I'm just like seeing the people that are writing in the comments below. You awful queen.
I know. They traumatize us. It's true. Okay.
They really do. They do not know what we go through. We have they're like, you need microphones. We have our microphone right with us. Jonathan, we're
really doing the best we can, guys.
I know. I debated bringing my lights to Hawaii, but at the last moment.
This lighting is lovely, Dave. This lighting is lovely.
So anyway, as we were saying, let's start with the ladies here because it was Evgenia Medvedeva, Rika Kihira, Eunsoo Lim, and Chen. So it was quite the stacked field, and we have to keep you listening for Hanyu. We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Let's start with Rika. So let's start with the costume situation. They are very striking, a very different cut, I think, than we're used to. A friend of ours was there and said that they looked really pretty in person. That may not have come across on screen.
It didn't come. You know what it came across for the free in particular? It's that idea that the dress was wearing her. Mm-hmm. Like she does have this beautiful light effervescent quality to her skating, and it seemed a bit heavy.
Is it that the cut is long? The cut's like a little bit longer.
And then there's such heavy beating in the middle. I don't know. It just, to me, it wasn't as much a fit. But, you know, last year even I enjoyed her free skating dress. But remember, she had the frilly gloves for the short. So she's a hit or miss with me sometimes on the fashion front.
And you know that we really like her. I like her competitive personality. I like a girl that can go out there and like throw it down and slay. However, we need to be honest about Rika. I love her. I love Mia Hamada's skating skills. I noticed that she has choreographed emotion, but not real musicality. Like, if Tom Dixon tells her, on this beat of music, you're going to do something with your arms, she can do it, and she can give face. However, I watched Dance Moms on the plane on the way here, and let me tell you, Abby Lee is right about a lot of things. She needs 3 facial expressions choreographed in the piece that are different so that we are on an emotional journey with her. And I just don't feel like she has that going on in either program.
Well, or she needs to know what the emotional journey is. In the same way, on a very different level, but when you were talking about Jason doing Schindler's List, for example, he can make beautiful movements, and they are so beautiful that we are in awe of them. But do they come from an emotionally charged place? Or does it look like an exquisite, refined move that someone gave them? And that's kind of what's happening with Rika. I think she's doing what's been told to her, but it's not coming from her soul a little bit.
I think Jason could maybe connect with this piece more. I don't think Jason...
I think so, too.
I don't think he's ever been pushed to do that in any of his pieces. I think that they were beautiful music. Here, I think with Jason, he's obviously a Jewish American, has likely tons of family history. It's impossible not to, with the Holocaust. So I would think that there's a real deep emotional connection there that we may see come through, and it could be a perfect venue for him, and we'll see coming soon. But with Rika, I know that they're trying to get out her performance quality, and she has something in there, and maybe it's that she's so focused on the jumps and she's turning on and turning off. But I noticed in a couple of these performances with the top ladies, you can really see a disconnect. There are times when we get to Valieva where it looks like a Plushenko program, where the setup for the quad is so extreme and so shut off from the rest of the program, and then we get into a performance. With Rika, it goes in and out throughout the performance, throughout the choreography, and I just, in a ladies champion, especially in figure skating, want more of a emotional connection. You know, I'm here on a yoga retreat. We talk about, this morning we were talking about the left side being our feminine energy and the right side being our masculine energy, the left side being the receiver, the right side being the giver, Jonathan. And we were, I believe that it's like the artistic, the technical.
And the technical, okay.
And then it has to be matched. And I think right now, the sport, and I know people are going to start commenting, well, it's a sport. Well, we've had this debate only for 125 years of the ISU or something, that it's been like, it's technical right now, and it needs to be more balanced. So
yeah, and it can be, I think. I mean, the thing is, I thought they did a smart move with Rika because I think both pieces of music enhance my interest level in her. Mm-hmm. The music is very interesting, which is step one. And I think just an additional commitment and extension to the music that I think might happen for her if she continues to work on it throughout the year. Because I think a lot of people probably were still viewing her as inconsistent.
Which is strange because she did have such a great season, but then blowing the short program at the Worlds.
All it took was the Worlds, yeah. And even in her great season, the triple axel was there most of the time, not always. And to see, it was clear their goal was to go out and go clean. And she basically did, and she got, the score she needed. So
yeah, I thought the triple axel in the short was probably the best of the 3 that she
did.
It
was fabulous, yeah.
Overall, a good performance here. A little bit of a shaky triple loop that she held on for dear life, but this girl is a competitor. She is someone who is going out there to win every competition. I do worry that her moment to win the Worlds came last season, and that it might be hard to ever have it lined up so perfectly for her with the number of quads that someone like Trusova is attempting this year. But I do think she still is potentially the most balanced skater, but she does really need to hone in on those artistic marks to really get an advantage. It's so hard to build up a lead in components. The judges do sway it so far technically. If you do land the jumps, they do give you bonus points in components that are not always deserved. Someone like Rika really needs to get the Karolina Kostner scores and beyond. She really needs to make us feel like Satiko, skate like Karolina, and slay like Katarina Witt, so that she can go, or Kim Yunas.
That's all.
Well, you know what? That's what it takes to be world champion, Jonathan.
Bingo. It's true. And I have to say, my favorite part is actually in the short program. She does these choreographic moves before the triple loop that to me show me that she's got it. She can do it. It's in there, I believe. It just has to be worked on a little bit.
Yeah, they need to bring her to Tom, have him work on it constantly, and really, really, really train. those elements, because it's there. You can see it in moments, especially in the free skate. Now, I landed the plane and I was like, Jonathan, update me on skating. And you were like, well, there's controversy about Rika's free skate. And I was confused because this free skate was announced maybe 2-3 months ago. We've seen clips of it before, and I guess you were saying fan reaction that...
Yeah, there was some fan reaction that they found it offensive, and obviously this can help lead us into our next skater as well. And I can't necessarily speak to the specifics. I know that they take this music from various religious backgrounds, and I personally see nothing wrong with that, as we've seen many programs to Jewish religious music, Christian religious music, and someone was offended that it was being skated to, and there was outcry about the kinds of moves being disrespectful, and I just thought all of that might have been a little out of proportion with what I was actually seeing on the ice.
I think you have to go back to intention, and what was the intention of the piece, and the whole intention of the piece, it was supposed to be kind of in that unifying, undefined measure of God. I think it's supposed to be unifying together, world peace, world harmony. So I don't think that itself is offensive.
I agree.
I think if there's a certain move or something there that has legitimate connotation that they would review, but there's so much. People skate to Ave Maria, people skate to all sorts of different pieces of music. I think sometimes in the world we live in with cancel culture and everything like that, there is such an urge to be offended, but I don't think that this program...
This is not that moment, to me.
It didn't feel like cheap to me. It doesn't feel like a...
No, I felt it was handled with respect. You know, when we talk about the Aboriginal program of those Russian ice dancers in 2010, that seemed poorly done, and it seemed a caricature, it wasn't done with the white glove treatment that this was clearly given.
When you're doing a program with orange face, where you're wearing leaves and you're doing Eskimo kisses and the choreography, I can understand how that's a little bit off-putting to people. It was curious.
Yeah.
But at the same point, as we're going to talk about the next piece, there were also fans that were offended by Medvedeva wearing a kimono. And this, to me, was a little bit... like, whoa, standing back, because I was trying to think, like, big picture. Because if you're offended by someone wearing a kimono, are you offended by Meryl and Charlie doing the Indian program for the Bollywood program? To me, that was celebratory of Bollywood culture. Medvedeva has a strong tie to Japan. She performs there every season, several times, probably spends maybe 2 months of her year in Japan, some years. She also, like many of the skaters...
And clearly respects that culture. And I think cultural appropriation is something that I, particular in opera, have experienced several times doing Madame Butterfly and Turandot. There's always a great deal of backlash at times about it. Mm-hmm. And to me, there's a big difference if Placido Domingo goes out in blackface to sing Otello, outrageously inappropriate. Yeah. But if someone is merely... When I've been in Turandot and I... and being given the makeup that someone would wear from this fairy tale era, that's very different than giving makeup that, if she had done makeup to make her look a different race, outrageously inappropriate, outrageously offensive. But to do a soundtrack from a film and have it inspired, it's not like I don't know. I mean, it's not for me to decide, because I'm not of that descent, I guess, but I guess I thought she had done it with respect, so I didn't.
So I asked a number of fans, both from Japan and Japanese American fans, what they thought of it. The ones that we asked were not offended. There are people online, I don't know, that they're behind a moniker. I don't know what their background is. They were more offended. The thing that I would think is that Japan is so inviting of skaters to join in on their culture, to appreciate their culture. We just saw all the skaters go to Japan this summer. They were all photographed in kimonos, right? We just saw the pictures of Tim Coletto, of all of the girls from Sambo 70 wearing the kimonos. Nathan, Shoma, I believe, in that show. Well, Shoma was from Japan anyway, but we just saw all of the skaters over there wearing the kimonos. We see it several times throughout the season, or throughout the last several seasons. So and she's someone that has such a love of Japan. She's had a love of anime. She did the Sailor Moon program. The Japanese loved it. She has a relationship with it.
Well, it's like you said about Rika. It goes back to the intention, and I believe that this was a thought-out program and a carefully crafted costume to go with it.
And I've always thought that this program was kind of honoring and deepening her relationship with Japan. They've obviously been so supportive of her skating throughout her career. That aside, let's talk about the actual...
Now the skating.
The actual costume that I thought was maybe not offensive, but... Okay, I think the unitard helps...
Oh, the Surya jumpsuit with the cape? Yeah, that whole thing. And it's not even on the leg? That, if you want to be offended.
The leg was what I was offended by.
Yeah.
You know what it is?
A very Artur Dmitriev, right? It's like that 94 long.
I always got Ursula, the Sea Witch, from that costume. I don't know what it was, but with Medvedeva, there's something about the taste level of her costumes and like the hair back in the day, and I don't know if it's just like she and her mom that make it, because I know that Sandra had come up with a dress last year. We never saw it. They had the whole... They wanted her in the long colored gloves with like a dress for the orange colored sky that was perhaps more orangey or more indicative of it.
Yeah, more fitting. Yeah.
And they just kind of like veered away, right? Like they have their own view, and look, they're the ones paying for it. They are certainly free to do that. I just think that there's always something like the idea is good, and then it's like a little off. Even the kimono, like I was confused with like all the schmutz up here. Like what was happening.
And it was a bit three-dimensional, which kind of added at times distracting quality, I felt.
Yeah, like I don't know. I was like, I think the last would be more. I was confused with the stuff on the leg. I think the unitard is a good look for her overall. She looked very mature.
Now, do you think that's so? She looks faster.
Yes, she looks longer, faster, more Carolina-ish. Yeah. They're emphasizing her height. They're trying to emphasize her line. It's always for a purpose. It was the same reason for Miska Chunuk. Oh, well, Miska Chunuk, they were trying to make her look leaner, which doesn't have any need to. But I think the skating itself, as we look at what she can do next season, I don't know if I'm lisping like Cindy Brady a little bit. I just switched my Invisalign for...
You're doing great, Dave. You're doing great.
Always worried about those comments, Jonathan. Anyway.
Okay, I know.
I don't want to like give people like sound issues. For Medvedeva, I really think that she needs to really keep pushing the skating skills. There are times that it is good, and there are times that it's holding her back for getting back to that level.
Can you get a little specific with me? When I watched the short, for instance, I was really trying to look at where her skating skills were really at, because there's always a debate about her PCS and things like that. And I just think the main thing I missed from her in that short is the knee bend.
Yeah, look at the knee, look at the posture.
That's the major thing. Yeah.
It does.
Okay.
When you watch someone like Mao, someone like Kostner, someone like Kim Yuna skate, and this is what the current era is really missing. Not so much the Hamada skaters, although they skate a little bit smaller because they themselves are so tiny. But when you watch those other great skaters, Michelle Kwan skate, you notice the flow over the ice, the effortless glide, and that's something that's in the skating skill description. If you watch all of these skaters, you can see the work and the effort just to move across the ice. You will often see the bend forward, and you see that often with Medvedeva. Her flow has improved since she has gotten to Toronto, but it is still not there. And to me, the biggest thing is that I notice that in a couple of these ladies, when they get to their choreographic sequence and the step sequence, and then when they do them at the end of the program, that is the moment where the program is just supposed to sell and just supposed to come alive, because these programs under the IJS are choreographed in a way that is jump, 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 and then it's like the end of Michelle Kwan's Tosca or Scheherazade, where we are just going to be performing and making us
it's that moment when the choreographer or the commentators would always say, now they're done with all the difficult work, now they're going to sell it, and now the audience will erupt. And it does seem like a missed opportunity for several of these IJS programs, that it kind of fizzles and goes in.
It looks like work, it's not expansive. And a lot of the movements that Evgenia is doing, they're just not as effective as it could be. And at the end of the day, when the judges have to push those component scores, those can make a huge difference. Even when especially when they're factored 1.6 in the free. You look and you're like, am I going to give this an 8? Am I going to give this an 8.5? Am I going to give this a 9? If you're not going on reputation and the fact that she's a 2-time world champion, 3-time world medalist, and an Olympic medalist, you look at the fact and you're like, it's average for a top skater. It is not bring it home. There's nothing about that that's going to scream 9 to me. It's still, I think, if you didn't know her reputation or what she has done in the past, to me it doesn't get it done. What I do like is the fact that this girl is a competitor. This girl has the Katarina Witt steel, and we see it at the Worlds, and we see it coming out again now. She didn't look great last week. This week we saw triple flip, triple toe. We saw triple salchow, triple loop. They looked strong. Double axel.
She was willing it so. And that's that fight that we do love to root for.
Yeah. And when we talk about Katarina, and maybe we'll someone will commission the 87 Worlds coming soon. We were just watching, I think, the exhibition. When you watch Katarina, she was never the best skater, never the best jumper. She made those jumps happen. And Evgenia makes it. She's got a real wonky double axel, and she's pulling off a double axel triple toe. Someone was asking us on Twitter, like, what do we think of it? Not the most beautiful double axel triple toe I've ever seen in my life, but she gets it done.
Other people would have landed a better double axel and then still flubbed the triple toe afterwards. Yeah, and I mean, it happens quite frequently. What I will say, and this was coming up a lot, I understand also the frenzied finish where we're doing a huge spin at the end of a program. But one of my pet peeves is it seems so often all these people are off with the music. I think if I was choreographing in IJS, I wouldn't end exactly with the spin. And I thought the end of her free skate did a beautiful job of spinning, and then leaving that brief moment of opportunity in case she needed to keep going, and then ends with a cool pose, a cool series of poses, actually. And I thought that was a smart design. Because there's nothing, also that frenzied finish and the climactic spin, only to finish oddly after the music or to see the spin cut short, it defeats the whole purpose. Yeah.
I agree. But I think overall, she's building. She's improving if they can keep working on the skating skills every single day. That
Autumn Classic last year, wasn't that when we saw her first last season? I mean, props to you. We didn't know after that Olympic season that this kind of skate may have been possible for her.
Yeah, and you look back, there were weaknesses before that as she's gotten taller have become more apparent. You know what, it's improving. I don't think the Lutz is improving. Personal opinion, I don't think it's a great strategy, but it's a fixable strategy, right? If they need to, they could switch that out for a flip. She can do a flip. I think that's something that they might consider later on. Going for the GOE, going for the cleanliness. I just think that the Lutz looks weaker, but not just with Evgenia, with several of the girls. So, I do think the two Flutzes is not the best strategy there, because I don't know if we'll see a quad sow in competition this season cleanly for the world, and perhaps she might need it. But I think doing the clean performances again and again and again is...
And the point difference, I understand the Lutz is worth like a fraction more than the flip. And I know they're probably trying to get as much as they can. But really, if you're going to start getting dinged, I don't know if it's worth the gamble.
If they give it the E, it is definitely not worth the GOE if they give it the E.
Right.
There are the stricter deductions so far as the... as far as the GOE. The other thing about her jumps is that they're not as high as they could be. So they should also, with the skating skills, if they keep working on the height of the jumps, she's capable of getting higher GOE. With the combinations, obviously she has a great salchow, and she had a good loop too back in the day. And she used to really do that the triple sow, triple toe combination for like +4, +5.
Right.
They need to really make sure that those kind of combinations are her +4, +5 elements, and that the other ones can be getting 2s and 3s to pull out whatever GOE they can get. It helps her overall impression. It'll help the components. And I think that she said it last week, didn't say it to be mean. I think some people took it that we were too hard, but she is in a very tough competition. I would not want to be a Russian lady when you have 6 ladies that could
Oh
win
yeah,
the
it's
world
not about.
championships.
I mean, if she skated this way when she was at her peak, she still would be winning. The point is, there was Nutrusova and Sherbakova and Zagitova and Tuktamysheva, like all of these people. It's about getting out of her nationals. She could be top 6 at Worlds, I'm sure, no problem. But if she has to get to Worlds, it's quite frankly the tougher competition.
For her, I think, like in Japan, getting to Worlds, I think, is going to be the more difficult situation. Now let's talk about my daughter, Eunsoo, Jonathan. She is becoming a little bit of a problem child, both of my daughters, Marin and Eunsoo.
Yeah.
But you know what I like about Eunsoo? She's a little bit of a feisty diva, Jonathan. Keep your eye on the ball. And the ball is Eunsoo Lim.
Okay.
Did you notice that Evgenia Medvedeva is bowing in the short program?
And she just skates right through her.
She just skated right through her on the ice. And it's like, wait a second. That's a 4-time world and Olympic medalist.
Right.
You're a popular skater from Korea. She is like...
She's taking a moment. Go around the side.
Also, you usually wait. Like, usually you kind of like pass each other at the gate as the one is skating off, the other is skating on. Now, also, the fault of the person who is at the gate, right?
Right.
It's their thing too. But as a skater, it's quite typical that you wait and let the skater have their moment. Also, optically, it's just very awkward. Doing that.
Especially given, the World Championships were not that long ago.
Yeah.
And if you have a problem with being too close to other skaters, maybe...
And she not being there, she may not have been the only skater who did that. However, the camera did catch.
Well, in center ice, I mean, this was blatantly through her circle of ovationness.
You know what? Eunsoo knows that she's fabulous and she doesn't care.
Yeah, okay, and you know what? She looked like $1 million in that pre-skate dress, especially. But
I love the short. Unfortunately, Eunsoo really obviously has grown several inches, and I also
the jumps looked a little squirrelier to me. Like the loop in the short program was particularly wonky. I felt
last season that as she got to the latter half of like championship season, 4 continents, worlds, that it looked like she was losing some strength and power. She may have been growing then. When you're a tall giraffe, like Jonathan and I are, your strength to weight ratio changes as you get taller, and each time you get taller, you really have to work the core strength, work the whole body strength, and it just looks with her that she has lost the strength to weight ratio just a bit, that it might take a couple of months to really build that back up. I also imagine moving, having the coaching situation, the turmoil, you just lose time, and this is one of those sports where even if you lose time in the off season, someone is always working harder, and it's just hard to catch up. And it just seems like she's a little bit behind.
For me, it was it was the most noticeable in the second jumps of her combos. That's where I saw a bit more wrenching and contorting than I'm used to seeing from her, because I think her spins are lovely. I think her deportment is so elegant. She cuts such a beautiful figure on the ice. Her arms are amazing. But
she's
I was
also
starting
adjusting
to
to celebrity.
wonder.
I think adjusting to celebrity, different demands on her time, perhaps. All of it, I think you could really see that the confidence and the consistency weren't there. They weren't there in practice. They weren't there in the competition. I will say, I liked the programs better last year. And I love David.
I think so, too.
But I like when he works with a Marie-France or a Sandra. I think they work well for each other. Although I really did like the short. I think it brings out a character for her that perhaps will develop. I loved that arm that she was doing at the end with the attitude of the
the thing about the free, I thought the music was such a classy choice, but towards the end she was really slowing down when the music was getting heavy, and it kind of left you again, like you're saying, with kind of a kind of moment at the end when we're hoping that she can leave us energized.
Also, like many choreographers, I believe David may be a little bit eco-friendly. Jonathan.
Okay. Could be why so many people like to work with him.
But what I'm saying is, our friend Jamie Forsyth, he's a coach in Canada. He skated with Lee Barkel with Meghan back in the day. He was like, oh, that's such an interesting cut of Adios No Nino that Yuna has. I had the same one for my free dance back in the day.
I see.
did Alyssa Disney have the same cut of Sabrina? I'm not sure. I don't have the program memorized, but it was just interesting that the vibe, the look, the aesthetic, it was as if it's like a Marina Zueva, like, take it off, paste it.
Just add water. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, okay, I get you. But you know what? It's been a long time. No one besides us is really remembering this. But I was just thinking, like,
It's that emoji, the one that's like, okay. Curious. Yeah.
Curious, but...
What did you think about Karen?
Oh, I wasn't done with Eunsoo, but...
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. Continue.
I just think for Eunsoo, we saw young Yu, and though Eunsoo has all the charisma and all the performance ability in the world, if she does not work her butt off over the next couple of months, she's going to fall behind in Korea. And a lot of that attention that she has been enjoying, I think will dissipate.
Yeah, she is not their only fine skater.
No, she is.
I mean, I think she is the most maybe
watchable, inherently star quality.
Yeah, she just has it more than anyone. But if she can't deliver it, someone will be ready to take that opportunity.
Okay, Karen.
Not quite as strong. She was so strong in Philadelphia. And I felt this, I mean, this is more maybe what I expected from this point in time.
I think when you do a comeback, it's really easy to just go back to what you did before. Like, I think if you come back, you have to vow to be better than you were before. Personally.
Or at least different. Something has to have, you have to have a new take on something.
A new technique, I think she's worked her butt off to get back to where she was, perhaps, in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be really hard for Karen to go to Cornell and skate. And we said that earlier. I think that people are like, but look at Nathan Chen. Nathan Chen is also the 0.1% of skaters in all the land. And
he's the exception to the rule, yeah.
And Nathan struggled last year for him. Nathan was doing maybe 2 quads instead of 6 quads at a time. Yeah, right. And the quads that he were doing were not as difficult and were less consistent. And then he would meet up with Raphael, and then they got it together. And
you can't say when everyone said, well, look, he won. And it was like, well, yeah, but you have to compare Nathan only to Nathan, and he wasn't giving Nathan's finest. And maybe that was always the plan, because then he was able to do that later. Karen, like you're saying, may need a bit more of a foundation going on here, because even the speed she seemed slower than she seemed in Philadelphia.
To me, it was just stamina. It just and that's the kind of thing where if you don't have a coach screaming at you to skate faster in the second half of your program every day, that's something that can go to the wayside. It's easier to let yourself slack off, or to let yourself not work on your problem areas again and again and again. And with Karen, it looked like the stamina. What I will say about Karen is, of the top 4 ladies here, I thought she had the most musicality. And I thought she had the most interpretation and genuine musicality of all the ladies.
And oh my gosh, is that her, when she did the final spin in her short program? Like, she is one of my favorite lady spinners. Mm-hmm. When she gets it right and she gets it, I mean, woof, there's very few that are better.
I wrote down Angela Nikodinov-esque layback with the beautiful stretched arms and the classic leg position.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the gorgeous spiral on the music, not out to the side. She could have been a skater in 2002, 2003. Like, she has the goods. She has all of it.
Yeah.
She's got Sarah Hughes' ability to cheat that jump in the last in the combination. But I will say that Karen would have killed. She would have made a killing doing it.
Yeah.
Also, her
but
music.
tell me.
The music for the free. The You Say. Not hating it, Jonathan. It's an observation. In fact, I downloaded it for my yoga practice. But I did feel like it was Abby Lee saying, Karen is going to do a contemporary lyrical number, and it is about You Say. And I want Karen to think about the haters. And I felt like Abby was there telling us what to do.
Yeah.
It just like the music had it's like sort
of
good.
It had a lyrical contemporary vibe to it.
If you've ever seen Maddie and Chloe's duet to Inside of Me, it is like half of you is like, this is such cheese, and then half of you is like, this is brilliant, this is genius.
Yeah, and I love the cheese. Yeah, I mean, even there are great beautiful, cheesy programs. It's okay.
I mean, Karen would just fit she would fit right in at the Abbey Lee Dance Company. I'm just telling you that, like, we could have her mom there sitting between Christy and Kelly, and I am here for it, Jonathan, okay?
I'll be intrigued. I think the next competition is going to tell the tale, because we had Philadelphia, which was so strong, and now we had this, which was fine.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about your ice dance favorites.
Oh, yes.
Piper and Paul. Okay.
Oh, are they my favorites? No, I'm pushing... I've got another underdog I'm rooting for this season.
The Canadians, because he's so gorgeous.
No. The Green and Parsons, I'm kind of intrigued by. I'm a big fan, but we'll get to it.
Okay. Piper and Paul.
Mac and Mabel.
Okay, Mac and Mabel, not choreographed by Christopher Dean. Curious choice, because they've worked with him so much.
Right.
I have to say, I freaking loved those costumes. I don't know, I felt we were at, like, an ice cream parlor down the shore, and that they were going to come out, like, singing and dancing. Like,
yeah.
I love a little razzmatazz. I'm not against it. I'm not against it.
They were like, you want Broadway? We will give you Broadway. We will give you, like, an old school vaudevillian kind of thing.
It needed a little bit of jazz hands, I thought. Like, we needed a little bit more of, like, da-da-da-da-da-da. Like,
this was definitely the first approximation of both of these programs, I feel, for
like,
that.
it needed a little bit of, like, the Great Muppet Caper in it, right? Like, it needed a little bit... Oh,
my gosh. Doesn't everyone need the Great Muppet Caper?
That's the vibe we are going for, right?
Yeah. The dance scene at the supper club when they're lifting Miss Piggy and she's, like, dangling the glass slippers. It's amazing,
Glad that you got the reference, Jonathan.
And the synchronized water ballet. I mean, that was amazing. And then she yells, "Your voice was dubbed" at the end of it. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Okay, we could do a whole show about that because I'm obsessed with it. And
Okay, so that's the vibe they need to go for, and they need speed, and speed.
Yeah, a little bit slower here. Do you think that's an inherent issue they face, or do you think that's because it was the beginning of the season, or both?
So I think it's the beginning of the season. I think maybe... I don't think that they've been perhaps slow in the past, but I think this music demands speed. I also listened to an interview of them where they said that they were keeping up their peak, and they felt like they were at the end of the high level and they needed to come down, so that might need to do like a little bit fewer run-throughs and then gear up for the Grand Prix, let themselves have like a couple days of rest. So I think that might have impacted it as well. I just think this program demands speed. And when I was watching them, I thought, okay, looking at the ice dance field and what we're kind of hearing and seeing, it seems like the top 6 is very set. I think the French are the favorites for the gold. Shocking, I know.
Yeah.
I would think that Sinitsyna and Katsalapov, I think politically, how they look, I think kind of the favorites for second place. I think outside of that, you have 4 teams that are really going for that bronze medal. Chalk and Bates, Hubble and Donahue, Gilles and Poirier, and Stepanova and Buchan. And I think that based on the politics, Canada having one team might have a bit more of a shot. They've got Marina on their side too. That helps. However, they are going to need X Factor, and I think that this just needs way more speed.
The Joni Mitchell, you mean?
Both. The Joni Mitchell, to me, we always expect unique, innovative, interesting programs from Piper and Paul. I felt like Marina gave them a Virtue and Moyer program. I was like, Tessa and Scott would have done this beautifully. Like, this whole thing, it would be in the Thank You Canada tour. We'd be looking at pictures of them as children, as they're skating to Both Sides Now. The audience is saying, "Ah." Like, it just was like, okay.
A bit sentimental for what we think are edgy people. I have a friend, Lisa Shakespeare, and she's like, this Joni Mitchell, it's going to be amazing, yada, yada, yada. But I listened to it, and I thought it reminded, to me, I liked Starry, Starry Night, or whatever, the Vincent program, in spite of it being
sentimental.
This. And they went
and it had an element of it that I never loved, but that some people love. Some people get behind everything sentimental. For me,
I liked it, but I think it worked as a one-off time. Now let's see how this grows. I could see how it could grow into something more powerful, but right now it just left me kind of monotone.
I thought that the shapes and some of the lifts were things we had perhaps seen before, seen with other teams, seen better. It wasn't, to me, this piece. And I thought that Vincent had some very cool choreographic elements choreographed into it. I didn't feel like this was that innovative. I think both sides now, even though it's a little bit literal, it calls for some mirror skating. You know how Chesney and Scott would do the mirror skating going down the diagonal that Marie France did? I thought that this kind of needed that. You're skating to both sides now, you're reflecting on life. Like, I don't know, I just thought that there was something...
Something needed to make it pop. I agree.
And the ballet class from both of them needs to happen. He's a little stiff, and she's got that club foot like Shevakova. And it is a little... It's a tough one. You know, it's going to hinder them all the time when they go against these top teams. I mean,
I agree.
But I like it. I don't love it, right? Like, I like it, but I like all
I'm intrigued to see where it goes. Let's see where it goes in the season, but I don't think this is like out the gate. Oh, that's the one.
Yeah. To me, it's like a little bit Canadian, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I already know
a bit Weaver Poche.
You know, Tara McBurney, who does the synchro show, is going to love it and be crying because that's what she does to any Canadian number where we get sentimental. But I'm just saying, for us, to me, it didn't slam dunk. Yeah. It was not pushed over the line. But I liked it. I liked it, but I just thought like I didn't. I liked. I was.
They have the ability to tell a story and energize that some of the other teams don't have. So it does seem like a missed opportunity that they're not doing that, that they're going for the same lyricism that so many other teams are also doing and might be doing a little bit better.
Do you think that Mac and Mabel calls for that classic move that Torvill and Dean did, and they brought it back for
the feet?
The feet. Da 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 da. Jonathan, if we were on the ice, we would do it. Okay, for the Torvill.
Yeah, I know. And you know what's funny? The Piper and Paul free dance costumes almost kind of look like the Torvill and Dean Mac and Mabel ones. So.
Oh my God. The both sides now. Did you ever see that awful movie called Life is a House, where Jonathan, the father...
Yes, I saw it on an airplane and they build a house together. And...
Yes, the father and son are rebuilding the relationship as they rebuild the house. That's not a metaphor.
Right?
Right? And it turns out that the divorced, like, mother and father, or husband and wife, are also rebuilding their relationship as they rebuild the house. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That whole thing at the end, they played this Joni Mitchell song. And then
that's what it fits with.
And they were like showing fake home movies of Hayden Christensen as a child. Like, it was all about that. Like, that's what I felt watching this.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for me, it wasn't. It wasn't maybe one that's going to last with me.
It felt like watching the Thank You Canada tour when they were all lined up, looking at the home videos of themselves. Was it Barbara Streisand? I don't know what it was. It made me feel the same way. Okay. I was like, I didn't even read the whole Beverly Smith article. I just saw the caption, and I felt like I already knew what the article was going to say. There have been fans of Joni Mitchell for a long time. And I was like...
Bring back a Hitchcock. That's...
And you know what? Don't hate Beverly Mitchell. She is just playing the game.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
There it is.
Hanyu. Okay,
wait. Now, please don't be mean to me, commenters. But speaking of, I've written down The Great Muppet Caper. In that water ballet, we're connected, Dave. In that water ballet, when Miss Piggy has that like big chiffon thing with the collar that she opens up to reveal the swimsuit, that's what Hanyu was wearing for the free skate. It's like or was it the short?
It was the free. I think it's the free.
Yeah.
He had that
for me it was the short.
Oh.
The short had the big up collar that reminded me of the Miss Piggy. It's not meant to be insulting. It's not saying anything. Yeah. It's just that the same kind of costume idea existed in both pieces. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Instead of an homage to Johnny or Plushenko, it's an homage to Miss Piggy's water ballet in The Great Muppet.
Does it bother you when people say homage instead of homage? It's homage, right? Like
an homage, doesn't that? I feel like you're going on a trip then, right?
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So Hanyu.
That hard Salchow, or that hard Salchow fall, Dave. Ugh.
Okay, so this is a boy that's been working on his jumps all frickin' summer. Can you imagine that you're behind, you were second place, you don't like being second,
Right.
No one does.
Right.
When you're that talented.
Except for Liz Manley.
Loved
Go get
it.
him, Liz. Yeah.
But not in the figures of the world.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Okay, so you're Hanyu, you've worked your butt off, and you're ready for your debut. He skated well in practice, and you start the season with a wipeout on an under-rotated quad sow. Like, it was, like,
a tough one.
unbelievable. But,
Yeah.
in Hanyu fashion, the next jump was maybe the most beautiful triple axel I've ever seen in my life.
It was gorgeously easy. It was literally, if you could put into skating a sigh. It was just like, he lifted off the, yeah.
Like, we were all like, and then we're like, it's okay.
Yeah, it was so stunning. Yeah.
Now, comparing him to Junhwan Cha, I don't know why we would, except for the back of the road at the cricket club, but
They were both there, yeah.
Hanyu is amazing at jumping from his knees, and he uses the
Yes.
arms as an assist, but it all comes from the knee bend and the edge. What June does not do is jump from his legs, and he uses his arms, and he has the chicken wings going on.
Yeah.
And we watch him have the under rotations, and why Hanyu does not typically have the under rotations ever. I did think it was weird that his toes were called under rotated. He was not perfect here with some of his jumps, but I didn't think that every toe he did was under here. I don't know, we didn't have like the slow motion replay on the feed to look back, but I didn't.
And it's not the same camera. Like, I feel like we always have to reiterate this to people that we're literally like falling apart emotionally online because of these under rotation calls. Do I think they were probably too strict? For sure. Mm-hmm. And was there politics behind it?
Probably.
Just saying. I mean, maybe. I hate that kind of stuff exists, but you never know.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at the exact same camera, and
Doug
I think
was in a state over it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
Florida? No, I'm just kidding. Okay.
I was sitting outside. I was sitting outside, overlooking the rainforest as we're getting texts from Doug Ha, and I literally was looking at my phone, and I was like, I'm trying to care. I'm pretending to care. I just don't care right now. Like,
yeah. Taking it in, throwing it out. Okay.
when I am back from Hawaii, we can revisit this topic, and I might care more. Okay.
Okay. I mean, again, if the fans want to raise a ruckus, it's make available the camera that they're looking at.
But I love that Doug Hall was speaking on behalf of himself and Brian Orser in the text message, and he was like,
right.
You think it was politics? Now, there was a triple toe that Hanyu did at the end of one of his combinations that I did think was dicey, but I did not think that all of the quads were dicey.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Anyway.
Now, I have to say, for me, in general, I enjoyed like the sit spin arms and the footwork climax. It reminded me of that thing you were talking about earlier, where you want that moment, and then the footwork should energize the bejesus out of the program. And I felt like he did that in the short. He knows how to arc the energy in a nice way.
Do you miss Paul Wiley, Scott Hamilton's sit spin arms, where they would like, I don't have the arms that do this, mine are too long, but
yeah.
They've got those short arms that just look great. I've got like the arms with the floppy wrists, but like they were so good at going like up and down and up and down.
Yeah, they were about to fly right on out of there.
And for anyone that did an old school layback, what was the key to like effective layback arms that made them look beautiful, like you were like crocheting or knitting?
They were spinning them almost. It was almost like a mambo like kind of thing, but they were doing it in the air. Yeah.
How did one do that, by the way? What was the key? How much time did you spend on those layback arms? They look stunning. I miss those, okay?
I do too.
Extra point.
Now, for the free, and I'm sure everyone will hate me, but I didn't like the heartbeat moment that was, I don't know if that's him. I don't know if that's the way I like him the most. And then pull out your old Rudy Galindo VHS. Remember when he plays his arm as the violin?
Rano Capriccioso, Ice Wars 1998. It had the fluff piece where Carl Heiss was like,
smoking?
Tara had a stable family. Oksana had no one. They were crying for very different reasons. Right? That fluff. Do you remember that fluff piece? It was very strange.
And you know what, Carol? You were right. You are right. Yeah. But him pantomiming the playing of the violin is shtick that to me.
So Hanyu was playing the violin during the step sequence, because I was like, was that in there last year?
100%.
I didn't remember.
There was like a da 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 da, and he goes. And I mean, first of all, you'd be way too low on the violin. You have to play it much closer to the sound. Just saying.
Jonathan, you just showed your true colors. Okay.
That's just a joke. But
is that an homage to the guy? Is that who played this? Like, which? You know how, like, Hanyu always, I mean, how Plushenko always skates with that violinist, like, in the shows, because his wife. Right. And, like, the Eurovision. Remember when Plushenko made the appearance? Is that Edvin Martin? Whoever it is. Like, okay. He's not popular in America. Okay. Not with the non-Russians. Not so much. Brooklyn, he's huge. But okay. In the world of Black Mercedes, that violinist made perfect sense that Hanyu would do this. But outside of it, I was like, Because then for him to turn around and do the Ina Bauer he does later in the program right on the music, that literally makes me want to fall off my chair. It's so beautiful. It needs more of those kinds of moves, not a pantomiming of a violin. Well, if you're going to pantomime the violin, you have to go all in. Like, we need to see more violin. Like, you can't just do it for a moment. Rudy committed, okay?
Right. I'm working too hard as an audience member to figure out what exactly it is you're doing.
Yes. Rudy was at his birth weight. He was skating as a violin, and it really was believable. He went out in that costume. He knew that
the prop. He had the prop, too.
He knew that his shtick was to be outrageous, and you know what? He made a lot of money doing it. Props to Rudy, okay?
Literally, because he had one. But, yeah.
Listen, it got him on Will and Grace. It was all a thing, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right?
Hanyu needs a little... I thought that the performance... it goes in and out of performance again.
Mm-hmm.
And I...
Committed when it is.
Yeah.
And not when it's not. Yeah.
I think he actually, once he gets his jump settled, needs to perform even more. Because I think that can really put him over the top compared to Nathan. There is still a confidence and a swagger that Hanyu has when he does that. Ina Bauer, that as hard as Nathan tries, Nathan doesn't have the same knee bend.
He could never capture that moment. Yeah.
Hanyu inherently knows how to capture an audience in his hand in the moment and be as all like, wow. And I think that they need to bring that out more, especially when you're doing a program for the second year, because no matter how much you love the program, for you, for the audience, for everyone, it just becomes a little bit like, I never thought they were the most inspired programs, but they work for him.
Compared to his others, yeah.
I think that they are workable vehicles, but I think that they could have more, right? Like, his programs, to me, could always bring a little bit, like the first time you ever saw him do that short by Jeff Buttle, the one during the Olympic season that was so brilliant, like that, to me, every time he did it, had a certain level of swagger that was like performance quality 17.
Through the roof.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think with this, he needs to give it a little bit more. Just to be a slam dunk. Just to home run. Yeah, I agree. I think that he obviously has been working very hard. Did you read the article where he was saying that he lives for the quad axel? It's the only thing that he cares about skating right now is to land the quad axel and to attempt it. I was like, interesting. He doesn't...
I don't know if that's just clickbait or what that's all about, but...
Well, we have been hearing that there were murmurs that he will only compete for the Olympics if he thinks that he can still win. I think that loss probably ticked him off a little bit last year, as it does with any highly competitive person who is number 2 and feels that perhaps they should have been number 1.
But that was happening with Javi, but I mean, maybe Javi seemed a more surmountable challenge for going into Pyeongchang.
I think for Hanyu, I think he can still win this year, next year. Like, I do think he's capable of doing more quads. I mean, the quad loop in the air is so stunning, and even the jumps when he does them are so amazing. He could point the foot a little bit more, and maybe the under rotation wouldn't happen. But I have a feeling that could just be like whatever it was is like a small tweak for him. It just seems like maybe he has focused so much on upping the ante on the more difficult jumps that perhaps the easier jumps got like a little bit not overlooked,
left behind in a second. Yeah. But I understood.
But I don't think these are big problems for him. Like, going into his Grand Prix events, I think that's like a tweak. He's never been a great skater at the Autumn Classic. didn't he lose some years to Patrick Chan?
Yeah.
Like, this is not.
Yeah.
This is not his event. This is not usually his game plan. I think.
Yeah, he's getting his feet wet. He's getting his feet wet. Yeah.
Now, how about our friend Kevin Amos? You know I love an ombre shirt. I wanted to know where I could buy that shirt. I think they should sell it. Maybe at ASOS.com. I really like his
I like the
skating.
short program outfit. He looked like a hot bartender. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how accessible.
I mean, to me, he was one of the performers of the weekend that I loved so much.
And it's kind of, they took note, because last season I so enjoyed his short with the like horns and all that kind of stuff he was doing. And both of these programs encapsulated that kind of energy a bit more. And they got it right, because the jumps, to me, even though he was getting some positive GOEs and stuff, they were a bit white-knuckled in a way, but the way he dances, and we'll talk about this, I think it's Tutkamysheva that does the same move where she leans back and puts her foot forward in front of her, supposedly as this like big move, and she barely does it. And when he did it in the free skate with his arms fully extended, you realize the full potential of that kind of move. I
was hearing Jonathan Byer say, he's a dancer. He is a dancer on the ice.
I have written he is a beautiful dancer. It's so fluid, the stretch from the back.
He's dressed like he could have been that bartender that was supposed, or the housekeeper that was supposed to be there on the Golden Girls. Like, there's like...
Right, the one that was cut. No, yeah, exactly.
He is giving them life, okay.
In the free, so he does the quad toe, double toe, and then right before the second quad toe is when he does that one move, and you see what we see as a throwaway move, what it really could be. Yeah. It was like, holy cow. But the jumps made me nervous, and the slide move, it's kind of a sexy wildness, because it seems like it could go horribly wrong at any moment, maybe. Like, maybe he's hanging on by a thread, but he did it for both programs here, and it worked, but there's a wild abandon to it that's really fun to watch.
Isn't that kind of like all French/Spanish skating? Like, there's a sexy wildness to Adria Diaz, to every French skater who has ever been. They have charisma, they have an ability to skate, they have an ability to jump, but the technique is kind of like...
They are hanging on by a thread.
Hanging on by a thread, but giving you the most. They're going for the most technical. They're going for the refinement. Not quite there, but the
refinement in the jumps, especially. Yeah, I mean, I hope this motivates it. But even the air positions were a little unconventional seeming, and the landings were happening in spite of the technique, maybe not because of the technique or something.
Beside the French ice dancers, like, to me, French single skating, it's an interesting thing.
Scrappy.
It's not how I think about French people in general, but the French skating, it's like very, like,
raw.
I would imagine them to be like pristine, like how their ballerinas have like pristine technique and they are French, right? But like the skaters are like real rough around the edges, like almost
from the days of Surya and Philippe.
I think probably even longer.
Agnes.
And her coach, Jean-Christophe Simon. Remember?
Yeah, exactly.
What is it with the French skaters? What is it about you people? I love you all.
Yeah.
You're always the most beautiful. You're always the best looking. You really know how to find
give us camp. We are thoroughly entertained consistently.
They always know how to stand out, and we appreciate them for that.
Yeah.
How about Keegan? He also has that abandon where he needs to like rein it in a little bit. He can get a little.
It's fascinating, Dave. Again, I always go back to how you described Sakamoto's skating skills, where the bottom half had one set of skating skills and the top half had a different kind. He's interesting because he has these beautiful knees, right? He has exquisite speed. He has great command of the ice, yet there's something inherently sloppy about the posture in a way. Mm-hmm. It's almost like before he goes into a jump, he seems to lose all of the things he had going for him. And
when he
hunched
skates,
shoulders before he jumps or something.
He's so talented. But when he skates, he reminds me of someone that's going to try to go over Niagara Falls in a barrel and believe that they can, like, make it out on the other side. Like, he just seems like the type. Like, he seems like he would be jumping out of airplanes. like he seems like he is from the farm. Like he is like riding like bareback on the horse.
Right.
Like, you know.
Well, it's that Alaskan wilderness frontier kind of thing.
He reminds me of that Kurt Browning special where he's like with the rodeo and the whole thing. Like
Right.
I'm just like, oh my goodness! Like Keegan is a wild one. He probably should have been a gymnast. He's an athlete.
Oh yeah, through and through. But he does show heart, even though like the Ed Sheeran piece, I don't understand the fit. He must connect to it, which is great. But at the end, he does his final spin, and he slowly opens his arm position, and it's kind of a moment. And then he mucks it up because then he does like a cheesy heart grab, and I was like, no, you were being so elegant and classy. Like don't ruin it with the heart grab. Like just keep it open and cool. There are such classy qualities to certain aspects of his skating that I'd love to see them steer him in. And I don't know if additional people in his team, I don't know if Mr. Burkhart is the right guy for that or what kind of outside information he gets.
Have you seen his hair?
Well, mainly that's what I'm basing it on. Have you seen Rory's program?
Wait. 2 thoughts. One.
Okay.
They don't go together. They're just like 2 wild ones.
Okay.
Do you remember in 101 Dalmatians where people start to look like where the owners and the dogs start to look like one another?
Yes.
He kind of skates the way his coach's hair looks to me. Like you see the coach and you're like, that is how he would skate, right?
I get what you mean. Yeah.
Like Frank skaters look like they should have like a nice turtleneck and look like they should be a little bit stuffy and snobby and right, like
in a 1950s outdoor arena in a blazer.
Very Michael Shanley, right? Like the whole Second, I uploaded the '86 Junior Ladies short program. Rory Flack is there. Did you know that her real name is not Rory Flack? It's E. Rory Flack. Huh? What? It really was kind of like a game changer for me. Also,
wow.
Ksenia Higuchi did Melegania in '86. And Nancy was stiffer.
Did Neil Diamond hits? No, okay.
She was stiffer before the Scott Golds and did try classical music, and it was not so good. That Muzak may have been an improvement for Nancy. I'm just saying it wasn't.
Interesting. See, little did we know they were helping the whole time.
And Jenny Mito had almost like a little bowl cut going on. It was a very
those were some surprising skates.
There was There was a group of ladies. It was like that grew up together. Kwiatkowski, Yamaguchi, Jenny Mito, Nancy,
Tanya,
but Tanya was already a senior. She was.
I see.
Forward.
Okay.
Cindy Bortz. And so, but we are going to get the '86 seniors soon too. So, anyway, we're working.
But I mean, Keegan with the quad lutz, and then
his name on Aunt Joyce from way back when, before he was Canadian, he was Keegan Hot Messing. Okay, and that's people.
But he has improved. I mean, I remember seeing him at very early nationals in the States and thinking, whoa. This guy has something, but it's all over the place, and he really has cleaned it up. And his death drops and stuff. And some of those landings reminded me a bit of Shoma. Some of these
it's a wild. I can't put him in a box. Okay.
Yeah. And he's a joyous skater, and I wished both of his songs were a little emo-y.
He does.
And the Guns N' Roses. He needed a joyous thing, not more Charlie Chaplin, but something that exuded joy, because he has that when he skates.
Do you think he should be riding a bull in a rodeo? Like, he has a bit of that quality to him, right?
If he did, who is that? Eric Mio, or who was the Israeli skater that did that with the checkered pants? And he there was a rodeo program, wasn't there? Somebody had the chaps with the fringe and everything.
I meant if the skating doesn't work out, put him in the rodeo, okay? He would be great.
Oh! I thought you meant give him a cowboy program, and I was like, actually, a cowboy program would probably be a huge hit for him.
No, I mean I think a second career, okay? I think he'd be great.
Okay, you know what? I agree.
He goes real wild on those quad lutzes and gets deep in the Meghan Duhamel knee. He is going for it, okay? I think he's uniquely qualified, okay?
Agreed.
As far as Camden and Conrad, to be so attractive and just not slam dunk, it is a little bit disappointing. But they both
and Camden after another... I mean, the thing is, where Karen had Philadelphia, which kind of bolsters our opinion of, it gives me more hope than what I even saw here. Between Camden's experience in Philadelphia and now here, I mean, it just, I don't know if I can. For me as a fan, having had my heart broken only about every other time I root for someone, I can't really get invested in this one.
Yeah. All right, let's move to Italy.
Let's move to Italy, Dave. Let's do it.
Okay. My favorite skater of the event was not Dmitri Aliev.
Fair enough.
I'm
sorry about your eyesight problem. No, I'm just kidding.
I thought he did a very nice job.
Yeah.
Was not my favorite.
Oh, I know who your favorite is, and I agree with you.
Who? I think
the Japanese skater.
Kazuki Tomono. I just
loved him. Loved him. Yes.
I don't necessarily love the cut of Moulin Rouge, though I appreciate that they were going for a different cut, and they were like going back and forth between pieces, and I just love his skating. And I think he has some of the best.
It was beautiful.
Some of the best all-around talent. I don't know if he's a quad Lutz boy, but he seems like if he can get a quad toe and a quad cell and triple axles, that he could be a contender just by being clean and consistent. Obviously, the short program was a disaster. But I think that you see him in the free, and you're like, this boy is getting closer and closer and closer to doing it. And he's going to have to perform well at Japanese Nationals with Daisuke in the mix. And to me, he is like a Frank Carroll dream. He's got the Japanese qualities of a Sato and the Frank Carroll refinement. It's like Dennis 10, but like even with more like artistry.
Yeah, there's something absolutely inherently exquisite about just his presence on the ice and the way he moves.
And
I think there's, I'm a big fan. I hope it goes well for him this season. Because you see, I mean, Shoma and Hanyu and Daisuke, but Keiji, for me, was always fine. He was, like, rounding out the field. And it would be really nice to see
He was like Angelique
someone...
Kadinov before the makeover, right? Like
Yeah. This would be a thrilling addition to that lineup.
Come on, Kazuki.
Do it.
I also really love Matteo Rizzo. Every time.
There's a quality there. More than maybe Daniel.
Yeah.
Grossel or whatever.
Way more skating skills, way more finish. I think our friend Leonardo, who always writes to us, probably loves him. I mean, and he has switched to the cricket club. I think it's official. We don't get without Ice Network, we don't get these official announcements anymore. But it is... There's something such quality to his skating, and just to see it over time develop, he, to me, is going to continue to be in the mix. There is something so great. He probably likely wanted to have a better finish skating in his home country.
Well, he wanted the quad loop, And
I think that he really has the potential to do it. I just think it's going to take some time, but there's something about his skating that is just like...
let's see. He could be in that. We could get a lot of him in the team event at the Olympics too. Absolutely. I mean, I think he could really make a moment there if he keeps on the track he's on.
And does anyone know, are Valentina and Andre going to compete again? They seem like they're skating together again. What's going on there? Does anyone know?
Yeah, because it's unfortunate. We just saw Della Monica and Guarizzi again back on the ice because she had that shoulder issue.
Yeah.
So but they've been off for a long time. So, I mean, maybe they think it's
I don't know.
possible.
Are they doing shows together? Who knows? But, like, what is happening? Carolina Kotzner is rocking the rink. Will she ever compete again? Like, they could get these people back for the Olympics, okay?
Yeah.
Listen, I saw Icarus. We can borrow the drugs wherever the Speedwalker ex-boyfriend was on. We could get her ready to go, okay? You know what?
He can answer the door this time, Carolina. You.
Oh God, I'm kidding. You know that it probably. I think it still cuts too deep for people. We probably shouldn't have made.
Yes. Okay.
It was all in good fun, people. We were not.
Yeah, because we love Carolina. That's all.
Love Carolina.
But we know that
we want to see her skate again. But anyway.
But okay, so my boy Dmitri.
I thought he's nice. I like the overall aesthetic.
I like his skating. I don't like these programs. The short, in particular, was a real miss for someone. Again, it's like, don't you see who's in front of you? I just don't understand that short program at all. The free skate, a little bit better, but...
I mean, I think Sound of Silence is a good choice. He does have that brooding quality. I really think that he could be the top male skater in Russia. He has the potential. Kolyada has been such a consistent mess.
Yeah.
It's really his moment to seize. Like, right now, he really...
And that quad lot sent a statement. It was the highest... I mean, he got huge GOE.
I worry he's going to let someone like Samarin win it. I feel like he can get a little bit sloppy in the rotations at times, but I think that Aliev has the most potential. To me, he's the one that you want to polish up that diamond. Like, he is... There's just something
and
about
for him to walk away, he tried the quad lutz in the short, and then did have the quad toe double toe and the kind of slightly wonky triple in the short program. But in the pre with the quad lutz, and then he kind of botched the quad toe, but it was like close enough. And then the second quad toe was really there. And to me, the glide and the final spin with the open arms at the end of the free skate. I mean, I love this skater.
Yeah.
So if they find the right mix of his movement with the right kind of programs for an Olympic season, God, I hope he nails the team event. Yeah.
Now, how about Boyang Jin? To me, he has managed to always be that Philippe Candeloro X factor. Every single season, you can never count him out, and it looks like he is in a better place health-wise than we've seen him in a while. Like, Shoma has been very inconsistent. To me, it looks like he makes himself a medal contender every season. He wills it. The quad lutz is so good. Quad sow not as much.
The height on it, but the quad toe in the short is also just exceptional.
I really think that if he just picked his quads to go for a little bit more strategically and knowing what he's consistent with, he can become more and more successful. I don't think he needs
where I see the improvement in the performance quality is in the upper half of the body. Mm-hmm. I do see much more happening in the arms, and not just trying, but actually achieving some nice looks in the arms. It's the edges and the knees that are still where I see kind of that inherent lack of quality.
I think he can take Vincent Zhou on his own merits. I think that Boyang could out-jump him and outskate him. Mm-hmm. Then he just needs to hope that Shoma is Shoma and is a little bit wild, because then he can get a medal. But I think Shoma is obviously capable of beating Boyang Jin, but it's going to come down to that. It's going to be an interesting kind of matchup for that spot on the podium, I think, for the men. So how about the ladies here? We had the battle of Shcherbakova and Tutkamysheva, two very different ladies. We also saw Higuchi, we saw Starr Andrews.
If that didn't break your heart. We saw Samodurova.
Yeah. All right.
That was,
Where do you want to start?
Let's get aside some of maybe the quick ones. For me, it was tough to see Wakaba. I'm a big fan of hers. I loved her short last year. I like her when she's doing modern kind of stuff, and they're going that route again.
She'll always be skating Adele at Worlds in my heart. However...
Yeah, this is tough.
It seems like the injuries over the last couple of seasons have really caught up to her. And it's going to be hard to climb back, I think, by this point.
It was hard to watch. Because she's someone I always like to root for in my own weird way.
Yeah, I think for this season, it's going to be hard. Some of those jumps weren't rotated in the combination, so we'll have to see what happens in the future for her. Starr and
Sofia. Starr. Yeah, let's go Starr.
Sofia, well, I keep going back to that interview that FS Gossips translated with Irina Goncharenko, and she was kind of brutal about Samodurova, but not wrong.
Right.
Every time I'm like, well...
And you know what? Good for her that season last year. Take it and run.
Yeah.
You got to know when to hold them. You got to know when to fold them. So
I would go the TV route. She's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
She's probably not going to get the quads. I would be like...
She was having trouble with the triple. She couldn't get the triple flip. She just, even when she was at her most consistent last season between Grand Prix final and Europeans especially, and that Russian, whatever that other skate was, she doesn't really get off the ice.
No.
And I don't understand how she's able to do what she does do, given that there's so little height and she's not rotating that fast.
Unusual for Mishin skaters, because he usually The skaters.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah, because we know that I'm not sure where the attention is being given then, but maybe he made something out of nothing.
I don't know.
You know, I thought the Gypsy Kings was a great choice for her, and it made me think, God, I love the Gypsy Kings. Why don't more people skate to the Gypsy Kings? If you want a Latina flair, like, give it through the Gypsy Kings and stop doing all the same things we've been hearing, you know?
It seems very 1998. Dominic Dawes did a floor routine for the Gypsy Kings. Vamos a bailar, okay?
Yes, all their albums are incredible. Yeah, they would be great.
Jonathan, now, you know what we did last night that you would love?
Tell me.
Well, now that you're skinny, you can start going to these classes with us.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, that doesn't mean I'm in shape.
Because I feel like before you were not into this sort of thing, but I think now we could twist your arm more. We'll take you to Lululemon. We'll show you the way, Jonathan.
Okay.
Have you ever?
Well, I always wore Lululemon. I just didn't exercise in it.
You drank wine in your Lululemon like a good mom. Anyway.
That's right. That's right.
Have you ever done Zumba, Jonathan?
I can't. I won't. I won't do it. I won't do it. You know, I loved step aerobics. Remember we talked to Priscilla about it.
And some of these senior citizen ladies on the retreat were doing Zumba last night. And I just think you would have lived for it, okay? I miss
the step element of it. When there was the step, it felt a bit more athletic and less cheesy, even though obviously step aerobics is outrageously cheesy. But I don't know about the whole Zumba sit.
I sweat so much last night. We were doing it in 85 degrees, tons of humidity. After we were walking around all day, we already did yoga in the morning, and then we busted our behinds for an hour doing Zumba. We did the salsa, we did the African dance. No, that might be culturally insensitive, what Zumba is doing. I think that might be wrong.
Okay, yeah. You want to be offended? Go over to a Zumba class. Okay.
Have you ever done the African dance on the Zumba DVD? By far my favorite dance in all of the DVDs. Okay. And I think it might be offensive.
Okay.
Especially because there are animal songs in the beginning where it's oh, and then it's
Well, there's Arthur Lyman. I want someone to skate to Arthur Lyman, which I just listen here, on just background music, where there's jungle sounds. It's like the Disney Tiki Room. I love stuff like that.
It's like the sounds of this rainforest outside here.
Yes,
going on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, who are we talking about? What were we even talking about skating? Cultural appropriation. Anyway,
Starr Andrews. You wanted to talk about Starr.
Oh, Starr. Skating to Salome.
Right? Starr Andrews? In a purple outfit.
Here's the thing. Derek. Derek, he was on Family Feud with Adam Rippon. There's always been a lovely camp factor to him. I think everyone really likes Derek. He was around for the Michelle era. I feel like he should know that you don't skate to Salome. But he's a Shirley Hughes kid. And do you remember what Ashley told us about Shirley? She was like, look, she just made you skate with a ponytail and curls. There's a taste element there that might be lacking. That might just...
Right.
We once saw him skate to his own vocals. He was in that show that Oksana Bayul was supposed to be in, that musical Cold as Ice. I never actually got to see it. Did anyone see it?
Oh, okay.
I mean, that would have been a moment. That was the one where Elkin and I drove 2 hours to Danbury to see Oksana skate to her own vocals, and Oksana didn't show up for the performance. But it was that Tara Moglen fake charity event that wound up getting audited by the IRS. Jonathan, it was an event, okay? Kate Gosselin was there, imitating Johnny.
Wow,
Jill Zarin. Jill Zarin was getting yelled at by Nikolai Morozov. It was a moment in time.
Thing. It was a to-do. Okay.
Derek Delmore was in the event. He started off the show, and he...
Okay.
It's when Morozov skaters debuted their Olympic programs, and then Johnny debuted his short, and they had to turn the house lights on for Johnny, and it was not so good. He was skating with a pink tassel. Anyway, it was a moment. So...
Okay.
I just feel that Derek doesn't have the internal chief editor, managing editor self, that when Starr's mom comes up with an idea, to be like, let's not do that. Let's not skate to ourselves singing Whitney and then edit in Whitney at the end randomly.
Right. Although that was their biggest moment.
Right, because there's a camp element that Starr really can nail.
But they don't really tap into that. The short program here, it was just the same series of choreographic moves over and over again. It just, I love this sport and I love these skaters. And then sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, is it over yet? And this was a short program.
From the moment we ever saw her pull off Whip My Hair and go viral, there is an X factor to Starr. There is something inside of her that can come out with the right vehicle. I don't think that this is the most successful vehicle. Also, her jumps seem to be struggling. So
yeah, just her center of gravity seems to be struggling. Yeah. So the jumps didn't work for her. The spins didn't work for her. She keeps hugging herself. That's her choreography. Is she just embraces herself. And then I thought, well, what's left? If we take away the embracing of ourselves, let's keep going. So I don't. Oh, I saw Sonia Bianchetti sitting in the crowd. Always nice to see her like in the audience.
Does she still write the reviews when she goes? Those skating reviews on her website? I live for every single one of them.
I don't know. I should look those up. I'm her friend on social media. I should check because I haven't seen her post in a while.
I know. I hope that she's like still writes on the website. It's always.
Yeah, because she let him have it. She had opinions.
She's an amazing nightmare. She is the best part of skating. Intelligent, opinionated as all get out. Like has her
old school charm. Now, I don't mean to put you on the spot. Did you watch Yelim Kim?
Yes.
Okay. This ties into how I feel about Tuktamysheva. Because I understand Elizaveta is not going to give us a program. She's not going to give us high art, but she could give us some. It's easier than she thinks. And I saw Yelim Kim's Maleficent program, or at least I'm assuming it was Maleficent. And it was just done with an occasional cool pose here and there. And it was totally fake, and it was totally smoke and mirrors. But I was like, but if you gave Elizaveta that kind of program, like that Maleficent program that she was doing, with just some cool poses on 2 feet as she slides around, I thought you could have a deceptively impressive program. I don't understand.
Still with Tom Z, Yelim Kim?
I don't know. I mean, obviously we know Young Yu is, but I don't know about Yelim
So
Kim.
both of them need to up their performance level. However,
because she had a total disconnect.
Have you watched the videos of Tom Z at the 88 Nationals?
I have. The camel spin. Yeah.
Not just the whole.
The Max Aaron camel spin.
The whole performance.
Yeah.
Jonathan? I mean, Tom skaters come by it honestly. I mean, it's when you watch Tom Z skate,
you're like, oh, okay.
You see the great lutz, some good technique in there, and then the rest.
And scene. Yeah. Okay.
I feel that Yelim Kim is such a beautiful, graceful skater. She's got these long limbs. She has a natural grace to her and a natural wonkiness. They're not mutually it's a little bit of a Syracuse quality going on there. But she just doesn't know how to believe in herself and sell it. Like she has Young Yu is also not an Eunsoo in performance, but she knows how to go out there.
But for her, she lacks the projection.
Yeah.
It's the projection I'm missing from Young Yu. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
And the charisma.
But she does, like you're saying, she gets the job done.
Also, I don't know what it is about Evita. It is the one musical in all the land where we cannot ever seem to do a good music edit of it. And we want to bring in all the pieces.
Well, certainly not from Madonna in the movie with the weird extra song. That's not what you should use.
I mean, I have no problem with that. However,
okay,
because the orchestration is so good, and the schmacting is great for a Nicole Bobak. I see nothing wrong with a Nicole Bobak doing Madonna.
Okay,
Nicole Bobak should be skating from Madonna. However, Young Yu.
Okay.
I just don't think that the Evita program should start with "You Must Love Me," and it's just like it doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't make because I'm being a nerd, like when you loved the Tom Dixon Madame Butterfly operatic edit to it. What I'm saying is that it doesn't take you on a journey. It starts at a 9, and you're like, what? Like Evita has to rise. Like, aren't we like...
She has to rise to stardom. She needs another suitcase in another hall before she can just, go slay Buenos Aires. Yeah.
Just a little touch of star quality. Right? Like, what are...
Yeah.
It just, to me, the edit was, like, not making a lick of sense. Like, what are we doing? I don't know. It was...
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, the triple axel was beautiful. It had nice height to it. I mean, the hip came out and all that sort of stuff, but she has a light jumping quality.
To me, it seems like she's on an interesting curve. It's a little bit shallow, the edge that she goes on into the triple axel compared to someone like Mirai. I just thought it was a little bit flat. I don't know. It was a little...
Okay.
Weird.
Okay.
Anyone else notice that? It was just like a little jerky to me. But I wonder if she'll get the quad more consistent before she gets the triple axel. I don't know. I'd be curious to see what's going on because there's a lot of athletic talent there. That's going to be a big problem for Eunsoo because I do think that she is inherently just a fabulous jumper. So
right.
And I thought that the program was better than last year, but that's not the highest bar.
Well, and there's a huge music change when nothing is happening. And I'm sorry, there's just not everyone's going to be the most musical or the most balletic, but certainly when the music makes a huge shift, do something, do anything. Throw your arm up and just change direction so I know that there's a reason for it. It just seems so arbitrary, but... So,
I really think that my daughter Anna needs to visit Buyanova and learn how to skate a little bit more. That is the one thing that Buyanova's kids really have over Eteri's is the skating skills. And watching Anna Sherbakova is like, besides the fact that I want her to not have the club foot like Piper Gillis, it's like turning in, and I feel like Abby Lee yelling at Nia, but it's like sickle foot going on and the spins, and this is a skater who should be getting every GOE point that she can. And now that she's gotten a little bit taller, it's just a struggle when she's doing some of these moves. I don't have the belief in her that I have in Atrusova in terms of the technical ability. However, there is something so watchable about her.
She creates a mood and draws you in both programs. Mm-hmm. I mean, and she knows how to get her leg up there and stuff. But
it's like
I was
flexibility
surprised,
without extension. Right?
That's exactly what it is. So then it leaves me confused because one hand it's so exciting, and then the other hand you're like, but wait, it's kind of missing at the same time. She fell out of the spiral. The triple flip, triple loop in the short was, for someone who's such a jumper, the jumps were not totally working for her. Mm-hmm. But she willpowered those combos.
I will say she willpowered her career kind of the last 2 seasons. It seems like.
Yeah.
I don't think she has the jumping technique of Chusova by any stretch.
She was at the same PCS level as Elizaveta.
Do you think
agree or disagree?
Well, I think she should be slightly higher than Elizaveta. However,
I would have thought so too.
She's a new senior, and the skating skills could be better. As much as Tutkamysheva has Arina Sutskaya posture going on at times, Sherbakova could be having better edge quality. She's a prettier skater, yes.
Yeah.
But when you look at the second half of the free skate, when she was getting higher components because they flipped from the short to the long, in the long, look at the last half of the program when she is doing the step sequences. And do you really think that that is where she needs to be?
The blade work, you mean, yeah.
The blade work is just not where it needs to be. It is, people think that it's like, a lot of the Eteri juniors, it works, it's very effective, but when they get to senior, it is not the rise and fall.
When you look down, if you look from the knee down is where it's coming up short. Yeah.
I even was seeing it on the Junior Grand Prix with Sinitsyna, like how it could be better, it could be deeper, it could just have more flow and extension. Watch that, then watch someone like Arthur Danilian, and look at his beautiful...
He's something, or what? We've loved him forever. Oh my God, he's so amazing.
So incredible. One of our favorites, okay? But you look at that and you're like, it's just missing a little bit of work in that knee, but they're working on everything else to get the points that is probably an afterthought for them, right? Like they're working on these elements, but not on the skating. Like they're working on all this stuff to get points from, but they're not learning the basics. They're like doing the difficult algebraic equations before they know how to do the basics, kind of. I think it's like fundamentals. There's a little bit, something that's a little rushed.
Trying to play the concerto without doing her scales first. She's not using her fourth finger. Yeah, okay.
They need to learn their scales and their arpeggios, Jonathan, okay?
Diana Davis, silver medalist, Junior Grand Prix this weekend. Okay.
All right. But Elizaveta,
and that,
she's giving you Tanya Harding triple axels. I'm sure you were living and dying. We're in an era.
Well, but she was back to those twizzle exits on a couple of them, and then what I loved seeing was because she did like that twizzle exit in the short, and then in the beginning of the free, and then tacked on the double toe loop somehow. But then when she did the second one in the free, she at least checked her shoulders, so it seemed to be a thing. But I'll tell you, it looks like she took a beta blocker or something. Maybe she was nervous, so she's just like, I don't even care about this.
What do beta blockers do?
And then
do they really make that big of a difference?
Well, I have never used them. I don't actually deal with nerves with performing and stuff like that, but I have seen, I know, but almost to a fault, where like you don't care. My own version, I know, just, it is what it is. But it almost seems to take it away sometimes. I saw a cellist perform in a master class, and she was so nervous she took a beta blocker, and she was just bowing and like let the bow fall out of her hand. It was like it took the life out of her. And that's kind of the vibe I get from some of these Elizaveta programs, is that it just seems lifeless in a way.
Okay. It would be like a disconnect. Like if I were a pothead, it would just be like, who is he? Like,
yeah, and you were like, whatever. Yeah, if you took away all what made you you.
Yeah. That manic energy, that
pizzazz, that pizzazz and presence, Dave. Yeah.
Okay. So Tutkamysheva, and it's going to be hard for her to get out of Russia too. We're already seeing that she's kind of maxing out a little bit with the axles, with the content. She can do it a little bit better, but is she going to do it better enough to make it to the Worlds? I think it's going to be hard for her again. So but how about the ice dancers here? The Canadians. All right.
Yes.
They have real chemistry with one another. Like, they're a skating couple where I think they might last once they stop skating. Mm-hmm. Like, they really have something. I tried to look at her. I always look at him. He is so good looking. It's
I know,
hard.
It's distracting. And he is a man of size.
And she is just in the way, okay? Like, it is... It's hard to get past the bitterness, but she's a very lovely skater and very pretty.
Understood.
But then they fell. And there's a little bit of an element with some of the skaters from Good Bois where they don't seize some of these opportunities. And it's like, is it the lack of yelling? Like, what is going on there? How are they not that afraid of Marie France? Everyone else seems to be. Like, what is going... It seems...
Well, and the other thing I would say here is that where I noticed the Gadbois situation is I feel these are Hubble and Donahue types.
Yeah.
They are tall, they are broad, they have tremendous presence and strength to them. And again, instead of utilizing that and making them this outrageously unique, powerful couple, they try to apologize for it and turn them into the same lyrical couple as so many others. And I want that fire. When they had more of that flamenco-y thing, you saw a fire and an energy, and I just kind of missed that. I felt it was too. I'm trying. What word do I want to say?
I feel like they're
too
trying
passive.
to make them more well-rounded, right? Like they're trying to give them more of a range.
Maybe, sure. But I wanted more strength and power and presence.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was looking for, Dave.
Marie France, more strength with them. But what I would say is that Barbara Fusar-Poli is just one of those people. What a person who is made to be a coach. Because this team, there's something about them. They're very attractive. They don't have the greatest extension and shapes, but...
There's a charm.
She is going to train you to be consistent. Like, dear God, that woman is a trainer. She is like Meghan Duhamel, and she is going to work you, Jonathan, because she loves
no one could have done better for this team.
Yeah.
She has angled them and positioned them so that they were getting things probably they never thought they were going to be able to get.
Yeah.
And she, even with this, he knows how to dance, and they were so in sync in so much of their stuff. I mean, and that stuff... those are easy things that just enhance the way you are seen, and they work on them because they know they don't have some of the X factor maybe some of the other teams inherently have, but their rhythm dance was a little careful. I felt them placing and being careful in the rhythm dance a bit, but oh my gosh, the free dance was just such a smart vehicle and smart polishing on their part.
Now let's talk about your Michael Parsons and Caroline Green.
Now he took a nasty fall, and she almost, I don't know, got so far away from him. He had to run across the ring to get her in the rhythm dance, so they were way down.
Better to have this now. I mean, they're still so new with each other, but these are the kind of things that are meant to happen.
There's something a bit frantic about her. Like, I wonder if she just kind of like eases in, or feels more comfortable in her body and in the positions a bit more. But I think I love the content. There are some really lovely pictures they're creating in the free dance, and I don't know. I really am drawn to them. When we watched, what was Lake Placid, that dance event, when they kind of stuck out to me, and I feel, I don't know, let's see where they go this season. I could see them starting to really surge. I don't know, maybe they're at the Olympics. I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that they're on the upswing. I think that U.S. dance, we're seeing that there. I still feel like I sound like Cindy Brady. I'm sorry, but I think that there is. You're seeing the next generation that I think U.S. dance is going to be okay, because now we have Graham Parsons. There's Avon Lee Nguyen and Vadim Kolesnik. Like, there's the next generation. If Caitlin
Carrera and Ponomarenko, yeah.
The next. There's enough there, right, to push it and keep pushing the top skaters and to push that the next 4 years, because that's...
And really, I thought, I mean, they made the right move at the right time, because I think the Parsons and Parsons situation was not going to go farther than it had gone. Yeah. And this is a huge surge forward. Yeah. I'm very excited by this content.
And, I agree. I think that they have a lot of potential. Let's talk a little bit about Shablyansk, all right? Kamila Valieva went for 2 quads. The first one was amazing. The second one, she was way off axis, but it just looked like a mistake. What do you think of her? She's very special. I feel like last season we appreciated her so much, but I agree with the Irina Goncharenko article where she's like, yes, she has a very beautiful free leg. However, she just puts it up so many times intermittently, and I don't think that the music choice is elevating in the free skate for her.
No, I don't think so at all. And I think she does have tremendous abilities, but I see, could be my own Hector projector situation, I see great sadness. I see great darkness in her energy.
Yulia energy? Or?
Yeah, a Yulia after the fact energy. I mean, this is something alarming to me, where so much of what we've been talking about are these skaters that bring such joy, and I don't see joy in her skating, and to me that limits
investment.
Yes, it really does. It really does. I feel, we all speculate what happens at that camp, and I know that I give props to that camp, because I feel like a couple of moments are being held a little bit longer for each of these girls. I think they must hear the criticism and adapt to it, but I think the ramifications of non-perfect performances must be horrifying. And I see stress and anxiety on the face of a beautiful young girl with a great free leg that's, I don't know, that no longer makes me enjoy it.
I also think that the culture there, not even knowing, what the coaches are saying, when you have that number of talented people that are at the same age and the same level, it's a breeding ground, right? Like, you can't stop it, right? If one person gets a quad, they all get a quad. It's why they train together. It's just like the Karolis. Like, as someone said, it's the own kids are so brutal with each other, whether it's in their performance, whether it's in the interactions.
One-upsmanship, of course, yeah.
But that's why they're there. I mean, that is also a contributing factor to this. It's
and that motivates some in tremendously amazing ways. We know great people that go out there and fight and want to prove something, and it's inspiring. And I don't know, she's maybe more a sensitive artist that I feel isn't tapping into the beauty of what she can bring.
I think that they could make a much more special free skate. And also, I think that the short program is great. The free skate is okay, but they're still within the same realm. And I was talking to Susan Kittenplin, who does some of the aesthetic work for the packaging for U.S. figure skating, and she talks to the boys about doing their eyebrows and wearing a little bit of foundation and, all that stuff. And she said that, they want to see a difference. The judges, whether it's a inherent, bias or whatever, they want to see something different between the short program and the free skate. They should be different styles, different realms, not like more of the same. And I kind of feel like the free is a bit of a letdown when you know that there's someone so interesting, and then the free is kind of like, to me, it's like just okay. I don't. And
again, she is worthy of something so interesting.
She could do your flamenco energy, Jonathan. Like, she could bring it, okay? Like, she could.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, for real. And with that extension,
imagine
who has that kind of extension?
With that extension? I mean, come on.
That's the thing. Utilize it. Build
Shop,
an entire
right, can. Anyway.
Little Offenbach. Yeah, she'd be great at it.
Ksenia Sinitsyna, I do like her. There's a power to her skating that is intriguing.
It's not as extended.
No.
And the music, especially for the short, was quite horrifying. But what she's doing is more of a program that matches the music.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. Where like that, I'm sorry, the short for her, whether she does that or not, Valieva or Kalieva, it's it doesn't have anything to do with the pacing of the music. Or what is Joe Inman's thing? The phrasing. The
phrasing of the music. I was writing down Joe Inman. He must have loved Artur Danilian. I think so, right?
I don't, unless you're headless, I don't know how you couldn't love that kid.
Headless, right? Like, your mother doesn't know you're gay? What is she, headless? Anyway.
That's exactly what I was quoting. It's true.
He is such a gift to us. Okay, I just love his
they're not worthy of
it. I really think that if they keep developing this talent, he's someone, he had a rough season last year where he was in the middle of the pack, but he has so much talent, technique. He's obviously more of a short program.
What was the competition? We saw him, and we talked about him in, I think it was like March or something of 2018. Was that when Russian juniors were?
It might have been.
Maybe Junior Worlds or something.
I think Junior Worlds, maybe. We've seen him a couple of times, junior competition before.
I mean, my jaw hit the floor. I mean, the opening was incredible, of his short especially, because there's
the extension, the dance quality is all good.
Both Junhwan and Kalieva, when they were skating to things that had more fire in it, it felt like they didn't have the energy to match the music or the sharpness. Like Junhwan was a little soft, and he's got this kind of cool, easy breezy vibe to him, and Artur brought the fire with the detail. And that was completely, especially at that age. I'm sorry, no one else was doing that. No one's doing that in the seniors. I do wish his spins were a little bit better, but the steps are.
I know that camel spin, he does a cool position, but I want it to be more extended. Oksana Bayul donut, I think, because he's capable of it.
So, yeah, for someone at that level, I feel like that would be an easy adjustment to have the spins just be a little better, because the posture is so incredible.
Easy adjustment? I don't know. Capable, I think.
Capable, yeah. Just try harder.
Have you taken a yoga class, Jonathan? I mean, come on.
You know I haven't. Okay.
I think you should do it. I was thinking of you this morning. I was stretching, using my arms, and I was using my wingspan, my expansiveness, taking up space, and I was thinking of Jonathan Byer. I was like, yes!
This is what he's looking for in a yoga person.
Yes, okay.
Fair enough. You do seem more zen to me, Dave.
Oh, do I really?
Yeah, you do. I sense your inner peace.
My inner peace? I've been eating vegetarian. Oh, yes.
So. Good for you.
Mm-hmm. Only for here, okay? I was like, we were at the beach yesterday, and I was like, is there chicken anywhere? Please, like, where is it? I just need protein, okay?
You're swimming in the ocean, like grabbing fish.
Did you know that in Kauai, have you looked at my Instagram stories? There are just like wild roosters.
Chickens or roosters, yeah.
And they're chickens.
taunting your vegetarianism.
But they run around the island like pigeons and rats, and you're like, what is going on? They're everywhere here, okay?
Well, that's what, I was in Pasadena doing something, and there were wild peacocks that just wander around as if they were raccoons or something.
Do they scare you? I'm a little afraid of birds and ducks and things like that.
And I'm sorry, peacocks are big. I was like...
The chickens? I'm a little afraid of the chickens, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, they could come for you.
I only like animals that look like they could be stuffed animals, okay? Like, I like a dog that's like
that want you to hug them, not
yes.
that would come after you and peck you to death. Yeah.
When people have those dogs that aren't cuddly, that are just like the licking kind, I'm like, get away. Like, no.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly. Agreed.
Agreed. My sister has one dog that I love and one dog that I'm like, Gia, you can...
You have favorites. It's normal.
It's all right. Anyway... Artur Delian, amazing. Peter Gumanek, whatever. Peter G.
Peter.
What a Russian. Skating to Phantom in a lot of schmutz on a costume. It was so Russian. It was like, Artur, couldn't you have just not made those little mistakes? Like even the stumble in the footwork and like, come on.
Right.
It was right there. It was right there. The win. It's okay. It's okay.
He still has time. He can turn this around. He can still be in the final.
Yes, he can turn it in, and we will make it. Okay, it's going to happen. Yeah. Okay, so he is.
We're going to secrete it. Put it on the vision board.
So, what was your moment of the week?
Oh, probably Aliev's quad lutz. Yeah. Well, let's see. But or Danielian.
He was probably mine.
His short, especially.
Silver medal going to Kazuki Tomono, and the bronze going to Medvedeva's triple Salchow, triple loop, because every time she does it, I get super excited. So I just love it. So,
actually, my moment of the week was talking about the Great Muppet Caper in a few different contexts with you today. The Mallory Gallery, a new skater from Great Britain. Okay.
Somebody's checking in.
Happiness Hotel. See, exuding the joy of Happiness Hotel on the ice. Okay.
What was your moment of the week? What is your favorite Muppet movie? Was A Muppet Family Christmas better than A Muppet Christmas Carol? Comment below. Old Edge and look sexy. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.